My own mother testified that my autistic son should have been aborted in front of him. The judge's reaction broke the internet. When my son David was diagnosed with autism at age 4, I thought the hardest part would be learning how to help him navigate the world. I never imagined the world would try so hard to push him out of it. My mother, Patricia, had always been controlling, but after David's diagnosis, she became something else entirely. She started making comments about how I was wasting my life on a broken child, how God was punishing me for something I'd done wrong. When my husband died in a car accident 2 years later, leaving me alone with David, she saw her opportunity. The custody battle started when David was 7. My mother filed for guardianship, claiming I was an unfit parent who couldn't provide proper care for a special needs child. She hired Winston Blackwood, a lawyer known for his ruthless tactics in family court. Her petition was filled with lies about my parenting, twisted interpretations of David's behaviors, and medical opinions from doctors who had never even met him. She claimed his stimming was evidence of abuse, that his meltdowns proved I couldn't control him, that his need for routine showed I was neglecting his development. What made it worse was how she manipulated David during her supervised visits. She would deliberately trigger his sensory issues by playing loud music or taking him to crowded places, then document his resulting distress as evidence of my poor parenting. She taught him to hide his autism traits, telling him that normal children don't flap their hands or rock back and forth. She convinced him that if he just tried harder to be normal, maybe people wouldn't look at him like something was wrong with him. The damage she was doing to his self-esteem was heartbreaking to watch. My lawyer, Sarah Martinez, was young but fierce. She had a brother with autism and understood what we were facing. She helped me document everything, from David's therapy progress to his academic achievements. David was actually gifted, reading at a high school level despite being only 7 years old. His special interest in astronomy had led to him corresponding with professors at the local university. But my mother's lawyers dismissed all of this, focusing instead on his difficulties with social interaction and sensory processing. The preliminary hearings were brutal. My mother sat in the courtroom looking like the perfect grandmother, dressed in her church clothes with her silver hair perfectly styled. She testified about how concerned she was for David's welfare, how she just wanted what was best for him. She painted me as a young widow who couldn't cope, who was in denial about the severity of David's condition. Her voice cracked with fake emotion as she described watching me struggle to handle his meltdowns in public places. Blackwood was masterful at twisting everything. David's need for a strict routine became evidence that I was too rigid and controlling. His advanced vocabulary was dismissed as echolalia, just mimicking words without understanding. His deep knowledge of astronomy was characterized as an unhealthy obsession that I was encouraging instead of correcting. They brought in their own expert, Dr. Richard Hoffman, who had examined David for exactly 45 minutes and concluded that he needed intensive behavioral modification that only a residential facility could provide. The most devastating moment came during David's court-ordered evaluation with their psychologist. Dr. Hoffman deliberately overwhelmed David with rapid-fire questions, bright lights, and sudden movements. When David inevitably had a meltdown, Hoffman documented it as evidence of severe behavioral issues. The video of that session, which the court required me to watch, showed my son curled up on the floor, hands over his ears, while this supposed professional took notes like David was a laboratory specimen rather than a traumatized child. My mother's testimony was calculated cruelty disguised as grandmotherly concern. She spoke about how David would never be able to live independently, how he would always be a burden on society, how resources were being wasted on a child who would never contribute anything meaningful to the world. She described watching him at family gatherings, sitting alone while the other children played, and claimed it broke her heart to see him so isolated. But what she didn't mention was that she was the one who told the other family members to keep their children away from him because autism might be contagious. Full story on my channel and linked below.